Hey everybody, the next math activity that I am going to share with you is a really fun math activity. It's definitely a favorite of third graders. It's called Skunk, and the reason it's called Skunk is because as you're working on your math activity and as you're working on flexing your math muscle and growing your math brain, something might happen with the dice or the cards that you're using that could really stink for that round. Okay, so here's how Skunk works. You and each player are going to need a blank piece of paper. You're going to set up the game board by writing the word skunk across the top, leaving space between each of the letters so that you can write down the amounts that you're going to record for that round. Now my board is ready. If you want the activity to move a little faster, each player can work at the same time. If you want the activity to go a little bit slower, you can have each player take a turn. I also highly recommend having each player take their own turn so that the kids can really think about the move that they want to make. The overall goal of Skunk is to, at the end of the final K round, have the highest total for the entire game. A couple of variables that come in. The number 1 stinks because that means you lose all the points you've made for that round. I know if you ask Mrs. Remillard, she will tell you from playing this activity in our classroom a lot that really, really stinks when that happens. The other part that comes as part of the name for Skunk is if you're rolling the dice and you end up rolling snake eyes, that really stinks because that means you're out for the entire activity. You don't have to do that. I would suggest using the 1-1 as a way to stop the total and lose the total for that one round, but we've always been really flexible in our classroom, and we've said if you roll snake eyes, you don't have to be out for the entire duration of the activity. But again, it's a really fun way if you want to challenge everybody. So how does Skunk work? If I'm going to play this with a multi-level group, the goal, again, is to have the highest total by the time the game is over. So as your players are working, the way you could do it with a younger group is using the 3 dice that you have as you roll them out. They are going to look at the dice. So for this particular round, I have rolled a 4, a 4, and a 5. Those mathematicians should choose the 5 because it's the highest amount. So they would write that in the S. Now they have to make a choice. They can choose to roll again, or they can choose to keep those points for the round and have the next player go. So we're going to say that they're going to choose to keep going in their round. They roll again, this time rolling a 5, a 4, and a 3. Again, they should use their math knowledge to choose the 5 because that's the highest. They are going to continue writing those in the S column. If you're working with mathematicians who are at a higher level, 1st grade, 2nd grade, they should actually take those amounts and add them together. A way you could challenge them is to tell them that they can add 2 amounts for that round. So if I have rolled a 5, a 4, and a 3, I should be choosing to add the 5 and the 4 together because that's going to get me the highest sum. 3rd graders, 4th graders, 5th graders, and beyond should be thinking larger mathematically. So what they should be thinking about is with a 3, a 5, and a 4, I should make the math choice to first multiply the 5 and the 4 because that's going to get me 20. If you want to allow them to use all of the dice at the same time, you could have them multiply the 5 and the 4 and then put that in parentheses, multiply that by the 3, so they're taking their 20 times 3, giving them a total of 60 points for that particular roll. Again, you have to make the decision after each roll if you want to continue working or if you want to save the points from that round and give it to the next player. Because if you, by some chance, roll a 1, which apparently I can't seem to do right now, if you by some chance roll a 1, all the points that you would have had for that round are out and you move on to the K round. This is a really fun math activity. The element of the dice also is really, really fun because it takes away some of the controls, so the kids have to be kind of flexible and deal with the fact that some variables might pop up, like rolling a 1 when you had already had a really, really large amount for that round. It's also a great activity if you wanted to do some social work at home as well, by saying, look, sometimes things like that happen. You got to be flexible about it. You have to be okay, and you have to know that maybe in the next round you're going to get a lot more points. So again, skunk is a really, really fun activity. It gives you an opportunity to work on lots of different math things, and it gives lots of different ability level players the opportunity to play together at the same time. But don't forget, these can also be done by your kids on their own. The way that you can see what they've been doing is to check their sheet when they're done. They don't have to have another player to play with. It's a benefit, but it still works if they're working on their own. Also want to remind everybody, we don't have to do all of these activities all together, all at the same time, all in one day. Take some time to pull one out, do that for a little while. If you notice that they're starting to get bored with it or they're kind of over it, that's okay. It happens in the classroom too. If you have a chance to work with your child on it, it's great too. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a really fun time playing skunk together. Happy mathing!